the December 22nd Board of Education meeting. Would everyone please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, would the secretary do the roll call?
All present.
All present, thank you. Proof of public notice.
The agenda has been posted at the public library for both of the buildings on the district website as well as the Kiwanee Star.
Excellent. All right. I would entertain a motion to the approval of the agenda as presented.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Lonnie, seconded by Jeremy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, approval of the consent agenda. Within our consent agenda, we have the regular board minutes, the bills in the amount of $625,120.26, and approval of personnel actions. I would entertain a motion for the approval of consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Chrissy, seconded by Shannon, of the approval of the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries.
I have one question on one of the bills in there.
Okay, great.
Lions Club membership, what is that?
That is my membership for $80 as part of the organization representing the district.
And that is for,
Their annual membership fee, so all Lions Club members pay an annual due fee.
okay,
Is that okay? All right, moving on, board recognition. Tonight we have with us, all right, I'm looking for my little letter here. All right, the one act play. Congratulations. So today, actually, a letter came in, and I would like a moment to read it to all of you. It came addressed to our administrator, Jesse Brinkman. On behalf of the Wisconsin Interscholastic Speech and Drama Arts Association, I extend congratulations to Algoma High School, Director Holly Walker, and your students who participated in the State One Act Play Contest. Held as part of the Wisconsin Interscholastic Theater Festival, November 20th through the 22nd. At UW Stevens Point, your school's district's commitment to performing arts gives your student artists a means for creative expression, confidence in development of the skills theater teaches, and ability to connect with peers from across the state. This performing arts sport gives non-athletic students a place to belong and cultivate their dignity in the face of both success and failure. The cast of the play, I Don't Want to Talk About It, received the All-State Award for their production, commemorating their advancement and participation in the state festival. Additionally, the production earned a directing award, plus earning outstanding acting awards, Brendan Brum as Kyle. Oh, I'm going to say her name wrong. Ailey?
Ailey.
Yeah, okay, got it right. Sorry, I've looked at him like, I know it. Ailey St. John as Tessa, Meredith Reyna Taryn, Elliot Lotto as Charlie, therapist, Mr. Frith, priest, dad, and drive-through. Thank you for supporting interscholastic performing arts in your school district. You should be extremely proud of your entire cast, which we are, and the crew who presented Algoma High School in your district in such an outstanding manner. So thank you very much for all that you did. Do any of you want to talk a little bit about what you did and what you experienced and how it all went? You don't have to, but just...
I can go. I think it was just overall a really fun experience. Started out with, we actually had one more actor who was Bug Casino, I think is his name, who ended up dropping right before sectionals. So, like 24 hours until then, but we still made it work.
Wow.
And
Wow.
overall just a fantastic people to work with.
That's a huge pivot. You guys did well.
Yes, we are very proud of what they accomplished this year.
proud of ourselves for being able to get them to this point and
Sure.
it's our second year, and we'd just like to thank you guys for all your support throughout everything. If I've ever had any questions or concerns, I could go to Jesse and he would find the answers for me right away, and it means a lot to us, just having the support of the school.
Absolutely.
And giving these kids a chance to experience something other than just the athletic side of high school. And a lot of them do the musical. They're also a part of the drama club, which we started last year.
Perfect.
And we're hoping to do a play in the spring for the public.
Our goal is to do a drama play instead of the musical, so there's something that's not competition and not musical for them to also participate in.
Fun. Excellent. Anyone else want to share?
I would like to add, this is my 4th year acting in one act, and I want to say this has been the most fun and just like the best year possible. Because, you know, I'm great directors. It's been the best group of people, probably.
Wonderful.
It's just been like unreal.
What does practice look like for you guys? Like how many hours are you putting into this?
So, we have, like, our schedules usually mix around, but we usually spend like 1 to 2 hours, like, a few times a week. And we, like, there'll be times where, like, you know, it's fun and laughs or whatever, but then there's times where we all stick to our part and we work hard and genuinely put all our effort into it, and that's how we got to where we are.
So if you do a couple hours of practice each week, how many hours outside of that practice are you guys practicing on your own?
I think, me personally, I feel like 30 to an hour trying to memorize the lines.
I recorded my lines and listened to them for multiple hours on end, yeah.
I can say I spent probably too much time going through lines and just drilling it into my head, like, that's the line.
And yeah, we try to meet at least 3 times a week, at least for 1 to 2 hours during the season.
Which is very difficult
Because we also work around all the sports. Because in the one act kids, we also have cross country, we also have soccer, we also have football kids, we also have, so these kids are super involved in stuff. So we try to work the best we can around that schedule also.
Also, I feel like a big part is that we've had our script for what we're doing for our play has something called a various scene, and so we're constantly repeating and going off of each other word by word, and I feel like as a testament to how much effort that having a various scene is very hard to pull off and takes a lot of effort and practice and being good with your castmates and just really taking the time to be able to do it in a proper way that shows the effort, and with everybody's different personalities and voice tones and just really getting that nailed down. So it does take a lot of practice and a lot of effort, especially with the various scenes that we had this year.
Yeah, I can admit that there was many times where we messed up or whatever, but say on our way to like sectionals or districts or state, there would be times like, you know, obviously the car rides we would hang out and chill, but there'd be we would spend some of the time working on the various scenes to make sure that we got them down, because you know, we got new lines a day before sectionals, so we had to figure that out, and we nailed it within like a few like the last rehearsal before sectionals.
Yeah, this year for sectionals, we had a last minute cast change.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a lot of work.
To add that one thing, we have a smaller cast than most schools do by considerable margin. To put it into perspective, one of the other schools had something like 400 people audition, or just a lot of people. I don't know the exact numbers, but a lot of people auditioned.
There were like 70 in there.
It's like 70 people.
Oh my.
But I do think the merit of this cast was we were able to get along very well, which I think portrayed a lot in the acting, because we were able to interact very easily, because we could all get along in what we were doing.
Sure.
We're all friends outside of school, so that kind of helps.
I was going to ask that, like, were you all friends prior to this, or
Yeah,
did you
we
build
did.
relationships?
A little bit.
Well,
Yeah, some of them met because of drama in one act.
Yeah,
Lots of familiar faces from the musical, so yeah, good group
I
of
have
kids.
no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
So how many of you wanna go on to acting like after high school?
I've been called out.
Front row.
I intend to become a professional actor. I actually have a whole plan of moving to Cali and getting stuff set up to do acting professionally after this. And I can say with certainty that this, the one act, helped me get into acting. Like I had done one musical, I think, one or two musicals before I did one act. And it was fun. Like, I really enjoyed it, but I can't say that without one act, I would still want to do it professionally, or that would be what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But one act really kind of opened my eyes up to other types of acting and just generally opened doors.
So what grade ranges did your group include?
I'm the youngest, I'm 8th grade.
I knew your grade, but
I think up to like
So,
sophomore.
Juniors.
Juniors.
Yeah.
Up to
Oh, yeah,
juniors?
yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't have one senior.
And then,
Oh, yeah.
Rachel Lynn, who couldn't be here because she had to work, but she was our resident senior this year. So we did have 8th grade all the way up to seniors.
So you guys typically are 8 through 12?
For one act, for the competition, the requirement is no greater than 1/10 of your cast can come from middle school.
Oh, okay.
So most of our cast is 9th to 12th grade, and then 1/10 of it can be middle school. So
Okay.
for the size group we usually have, we can have 1, maybe 2 middle schoolers. And then everybody else has to be high school. And just to put in perspective, Appleton North is also in our district, and they had a cast size of like 50, and like 10 of them came from, middle school. And that's not counting their crew size. So they had just a huge group to pull from, which is great. But because it's a percentage and not a specific number, we're kind of limited in what we can pull.
But Aaliyah's so great, so she's already in school.
Yeah, she definitely fit
I
in
was
well.
gonna say, Miss
So-
Aaliyah has a number of years that she's got ahead of her to,
Personally, this is my first year of doing one act, but it has helped me, like, I've done musicals before in the past, but I have not really done an actual play. So this was a very good experience for me. It helped me, figure out how to be more confident in my speaking and learn more how to be a more emotional characters, because I did play a lot of the more serious parts within the play. So it helped me figure out more like ranges of emotions, tones, and everything. And apparently, when we were all leaving to go get our, I don't know what it's called. When they give us, feedback.
Yeah.
Feedback. When they give us our feedback, it made me really happy, because a lot of the people who were watching us and stuff, they would give us compliments like, "Oh, you're doing amazing." And I believe that the best audience that we had was sectionals, because they laughed at every joke. For Ailey's scene, one of them was like, "Oh, she's so good at that." And you just heard a lot of compliments. And when we were getting ready to leave, all of them was like saying, "Oh, you guys did so great," and just being very positive. And it was just great energy to be around. It made me very happy.
I would like to give you props as well, Aaliyah, because for you now coming into a play when you're just doing musicals, this was kind of a major play for you to come into, just because the format of it was so different. Because the format of this play, none of us were going off stage during the performance. We were all on stage the entire time. So there's exactly, for straight 40 minutes we were on stage. So for you to come straight into acting an actual play, and this is the play you do, bravo.
I'd also like to, while we're giving out props to this one, we mentioned that an actor dropped. This one was able to take over several scenes and rework some of her scenes to work either without or with a new actor. And that is incredibly impressive.
Yes. She's great.
I just want to say before we close, though, congratulations on all your success, but I'm very impressed that the camaraderie you guys have, and it seems like you guys really build each other up, you know, and appreciate each other for the work that you put in. So to me, that is super impressive. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeremy.
And now comes the fun part. I get to hand out the certificates.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yes. You come up and we get a photo, and then at the end, we take one big group photo.
Yay.
And I'm in
I want
pajamas.
photos.
We're gonna be crouching in front.
Oh, my God.
Brady Walker.
He's not
He's
here.
not
Not
here.
here.
I didn't think so. Ashton Mullen.
Holly, you think you can get that one home to him?
I think I do.
You know where he lives?
I think I do.
Well, stand here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at the camera.
Make sure I'm not in it.
Just like graduation. Just like graduation. You're
My
fine.
hands are sweaty.
Amy,
That was my sister.
Amy, move a little bit more that way.
No.
They only see each other. Just hold it. All right, Brendan Brown. I wasn't gonna bring it together. That's not fair.
Thank you.
No.
Yay.
Oh, you weren't watching.
That's the best.
All right, Braden Brown.
Braden is not here. In the, you know, we have kids that are involved in multiple other things. Braden is on the basketball team. And
Got
so he's in Luxembourg playing tonight.
All right, Rachel and Jensen.
She is
Okay,
over.
not here. Okay, Elliot Lotto.
That's me. That's
Oh,
my
okay.
boy.
Congratulations. Elliot was praying.
He's pretty good.
There you go. All right, Tomas Alfonso.
No, he's not here.
Aaliyah Martinez.
The staff won't open that one up either.
Congratulations.
Trying to get out of this one.
There you go. You're welcome. Ernie Lotto.
Get up there.
Oh, you got kids involved. You're welcome. Holly Walker.
That'd be me.
Let's go, Raleigh.
All right.
Yay.
Elsie Gwynn.
Not here.
Quinn or Gwynn?
Gwyn.
Okay. And Shannon Brown.
That's me.
Let's go, that is.
Excellent.
Oh, that one's supposed to go to me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Mr. Brock.
Do you want to take the certificate? Do you want to? Oh,
I'm
I see.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get out of this.
They used to put awards in the hallway. I don't know what they do now.
Just create two lines, one in the back and one in the front.
I'm tall.
I'm tall, I have to go in the back.
Do you want to sit then?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm taller than you. Taller than me, not my mom.
Do we have to
Oh, we're gonna have to stand. They're too tall. Look at this.
Sorry.
It was pajama day.
We'll all do this. We'll all become an album
I
cover.
know. Like, we're gonna have to go down front pretty soon.
Stay on your tiptoes on.
Oh yeah, Shannon's blocking my pajamas. That's good. Yeah.
3, 2, 1. All right, now, are you capable of doing a silly one, school board?
Yes.
silly faces?
All right, go back to serious.
Oh.
Now serious one. You're not done yet.
Silly, but I'll-
All right. 1, 2, 3. All right.
I know.
It's your decision.
I mean, you gotta get silly, you know.
This is going right up on my
You need a 13-year-old. They will help you get silly. I got 7-year-old twin boys. That's enough.
It won't open.
Thanks for spending your Monday with us.
Yes.
Thank you for
Where are
having
you?
us.
You don't
Oh,
have
got
to
her.
stick around.
You guys wanna hang out?
Employment staff?
Yeah, I couldn't get that to open.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
Okay.
So maybe there wasn't anything there.
Maybe there's
You
nothing.
really wanna hang out for this word?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Then it wasn't just me.
We'll see you next time for the musical recognition.
Thank you.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I love this
Thank you
recognition.
very much.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you guys. Merry Christmas.
Keep doing it. All right, next up is our student representative report by Student Council President Kara Krieger.
Okay, guys, starting off with the sports, y'all know, keep in mind, I don't know much, but there is a basketball game in Luxembourg tonight. Both the boys and the girls are playing. And then tomorrow there is also a boys basketball game. So if you see them, any people that are on the basketball team, I don't know who they are, but if you know who they are, maybe ask them how the game went, ask them if they did good. The Period Initiative, you all know those girls. They have started to contact businesses in Algoma to see if they can spread like what they're doing in the school to the rest of the town, specifically like in businesses. They've also reached out to St. Paul's to see if they can do what they're doing here in their school as well, or if it's even like a need in that school. And they're also working with the elementary schoolers because, you know, some of the girls are in 6th grade, which is when that's usually the time. So they have, I think there's a small group of elementary schoolers that they're working with to try to help them start something up in the elementary school as well. NHS partnered with VIP last Friday, I believe, for a Christmas party sort of thing. So there was like gift wrapping, we had a bunch of like crafts and games. We did a lot. We had D-Robs on the piano. He was playing Christmas songs. So it was a fun time.
It's like, who's D-Robs? Oh, no. Yeah, how many people were there? I heard it was
I think I overheard them say there was like 26 families.
Oh, that's
80,
awesome.
they serviced 80 people. I found out at the VIP
That's great
meeting.
participation.
80 people. That's phenomenal for our community.
So FBLA also they partnered with the elementary school and we did like candygrams, we took orders for that and we did delivery. So overall, they handed out 700 candygrams and that made about $500, which is really good. And then Megan Zimmer and Gabby Shrinka also went with the elementary schoolers to go Christmas gift shopping at Walmart to get some gifts for people who don't get some on Christmas. So that was also really cool. Student Council just finished up running the food drive. We actually brought all of the food we collected to the pantry this morning. So there was that. And then in beta, nothing has been like put in place yet, but there's some conversation of like how we do the announcements. So right now we do like a slideshow and you have like when the sports updates are, you have like we highlight certain people like an artist of the month and like a school spotlight. But we've been thinking of maybe transitioning that to over the speaker announcements, at least on Mondays, to try to get more engagement and also to like help with school culture. And that's all I got for y'all.
Phenomenal. Any questions?
You said there's a basketball game tomorrow night too?
A boys basketball
Is that
game.
home or is that one of the two?
I believe that one's home.
Sophie Ramirez told me it was home, so if she's wrong, you can blame her.
Make her come back.
If I show up, I'm the
y'all
only
just
one in the
yell
gym,
her.
that's gonna be bad.
All right, I don't think anyone's got any more questions, so we can
Have a
move
nice
on.
break.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, next up is the board correspondent report by me. So, a little bit of action here. Governor Evers signed the following bills into law. AB 74, which is the parental notification of alleged sexual misconduct by a school staff member. Senate Bill 11, which allows representative of certain federally chartered youth membership organizations to provide information to pupils on public school property. They said no to the military, but yes to Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Boy Scouts, Boys and Girls Club, Future Farmers America, Girl Scouts of the United States. What I mean by saying no to the military was they wanted them, to, I believe, to roam freely amongst the school and go wherever they wanted. Here, right now, we direct them and say, you meet them in the cafeteria. So that's the only difference. So I don't want to And they also changed, the school board is the one that tells where it can go, and they made that change from principal. They had an amendment there. And the last one, it was Senate Bill 210, and that changes to the amount of and criteria for designating recipients of academic excellence higher education scholarships. All right, he vetoed 3 bills, Senate Bill 10, which was access to public high schools for military recruiters, AB 166, academic and career planning services provided to pupils requiring the reporting of certain data on college student costs and outcomes, and Senate Bill 422, which is the teacher preparation program. And the main thing is they wanted student teachers to be allowed to work during the summer months and still get that license, and they said, no, student teaching is much longer, much more rigorous. It needs to stay in the middle of the school year, or during the school year. So, Assembly Education Committee had a hearing, and they took out 4 bills, all right? Assembly Bill 109, which is a lifetime license that authorizes an individual to teach an American Indian language in an American Indian language program and modifying the rules promulgated by the Department of Public Education. Assembly Bill 710, the Wisconsin Sheriff's payments to tribal regulated child care providers. Assembly Bill 749, which is instruction in blood and organ donation in high school grades. And then Assembly Bill 391, which is the per pupil adjustment for school district revenue limits. The bill would eliminate the $325 per pupil adjustment that Governor Evers put in. I did email that to all of you. If you don't want me to email, let me know and I won't, but I'm doing that in advance so people, you can look at them and, you know, I'll try to get it more timely, but I always wait till the day in case there's something new that came in. So that is my report. Are there any questions? All right, moving right along to the board CISA report by Christy O'Connell.
So they are in the middle of their audit. So they had the auditors there, things were looking good. There were some things that they couldn't close out due to the government shutdown because some numbers weren't uploaded and some guidelines that came out around Thanksgiving, but they work with the same auditors that we have here, so I'll get to hear auditor reports in both places.
All right.
The annual AISA convention was held at the Broadmoor in Colorado the first week of December. That's like you guys are going to the one in Milwaukee for all the school boards for this state. This is the national version of all the CISAs. So they sent reps there. The director and one of our board members actually got to present one of the sessions and had about 60 folks come to that. So that's kind of cool. And if you've never looked up the Broadmoor in Colorado, look it up because it's a very, very nice place that they went. They talked about the superintendent meeting, and I think Jesse had some of the December one in the update. January's is the Lambo meeting, and lots of stuff about AI, so feel free to invite your team, get some more information on practical AI applications for administrators, and showcase how schools are using AI responsibly and effectively. Encourage principals, tech coaches, and curriculum directors to join. CISA 7 is the statewide assessment project leader for coaching on classroom assessment strategies and practice. So they are kind of the hub of all the CISAs and then training all of the other CISAs. So we've been very involved in that. And there are some free learning topics around that. So Jesse will be on a copy of this email, but you can see like project-based assessments and rubrics, building interim checkpoints, some different resources that CISA offers for free to their member districts. So you can definitely get some information for people who might need a little bit more training and coaching and developing on classroom assessment strategies and practices.
Okay, any questions for Chrissy?
Thank you.
Right, thank you, yes. Moving on, board president announcements. I've only got 2. One is the state convention is coming up in January. I believe it's the 21st through the 23rd.
Yes.
And there are some resolutions that go on. So just a little recap, WASB is our organization. It's the Wisconsin Association of School Board. At this conference or convention, they have a legislative assembly, a delegate assembly where they come forward and these are the resolutions, this is what we're going to add to our packet, this is what we're going to lobby legislators for on behalf of the school boards. So some of the issues that we're going to discuss this year are opposing the removal of the caps from the Wisconsin parental choice system, revisions to school district and school report card process, vocational transition for students with disabilities, universal state covered meals, a decoupling of the public and private school funding, and encouraging schools to participate in WIAA policymaking. Now, there were some resolutions that were turned down, but they could be brought to the floor of the assembly, and that has to do with supports beyond punitive student discipline, urging WIAA hate speech procedure updates, school safety outside the revenue limits, and local control of educational programming. So, if you want to see, here's the packet that we get, and it has all the resolutions in with the opposition and the rationale for. I am the delegate this year, so I'll be going to those meetings and voicing, our support as to what we're doing for each of the. I would encourage you to read them, and if you have any questions, email me so I can say yes, this is what we are agreeing to. And next year, we will spend more time going through all the resolutions and getting everyone's input, so I know what I'm walking into when I go.
We all got the email on December 1st with all of those resolutions, so it would have came from WASB, so it should have gone to your school email. Every school district gets a vote, and then every CISA gets a vote. So one of my CISA people who is not their school board delegate has to be a delegate for CISA too.
And they're quite entertaining, so I can't wait. Reminds me a lot. All right, then the last thing is our self-assessment. I sent you out a link. And if you could please complete the self-assessment. This is a new online version, and there are some questions that you won't know how to answer, and that's what we're looking for. What do we need to grow into? What do we need to do? How can we do things better? So look for the link. I sent it out December 5th. So if you could just click on it and complete it, submit your name, and then next month we'll go through that with the results and figure out how we want to move forward as a board. Okay, those are my two updates. All right, moving in. Is there anyone here for public comment?
No.
All right. Next up are administrative reports. Mr. Brinkman.
Good evening, everyone. Couple key takeaways, topics we'll talk about tonight. We'll do our monthly finance updates. We'll talk a little bit for the board and for the public to understand what the decision making around snow days looks like. Present the 26-27 school calendar. I'm going to just do a brief overview of NextPath, which is our data warehouse. I'll kind of walk you through that. We'll talk a little bit about the strategic planning partnership, and then follow it up with the election information. Just a recap of that. So, Amber is up first with the finances.
We have finished our 5th month of the year. Can you believe we're almost halfway through?
No.
So our target for November at 5, we can take 5 divided by 12 is 41.67. Obviously, our revenues are not going to be at that level because of the way we're structured. Our taxes won't start coming in until January here. And then we get a lot of our state aids in January in the second half of the year. We have started to get some of our grant reimbursements, so the Title I, Title II, Title IV funding, I filed at least one of those reimbursements already, and we have received the payment. Our monthly USDA food payment came in, and we got our now 2 payments for the special education aid. And DPI is currently calculating it at 35%. They always calculate lower so that they don't put us in a repayment status. So what they're trying to do is make sure when we get to the end of the year and everybody's got all their numbers in, because there are still some audits going on, and CSAs do get sped aid as well. They don't want us to have to pay back money if they over-calculate it. So they start low, and it should go up. Right now, the projections are for the end of the year that it'll be closer to 38.25 when all is said and done. We have 38% in our budget, so we should be good. For expenses, there hasn't been a whole lot of activity for the month of November, as you could see from your check registers, but we did get our fall semester invoice from the colleges, and that's been paid. And then we did some maintenance on our student transport vehicles, so there was some brakes and tires that were taken care of. The annual audit is finished. The financial statements actually came in today and for both regular and charter schools. And we'll be sharing those with the board in January, as well as having a presentation from, I'm hoping, Amber Drewski from
Amber
UCL.
Taylor.
So, and then Fund 27 costs are on target with the budget, which is great news, because last year we had some hiccups. Excellent. Marie is doing a wonderful job keeping everybody in line. So going on to our other funds, debt service, we made some of those payments out. Again, revenue doesn't come in until we start getting those tax dollars. So the first real payment we'll see for the revenue in this fund will be in January. The long-term capital improvement fund is mainly just interest earnings. We have not spent any money from there. This is non-referendum capital projects. The only thing we're currently working on is to replace bus 7, which is our oldest bus. So that hopefully will be coming before the board in the near future for some action. And then for our referendum-related capital projects, there is a little bit of work that is continuing through the school year, but for the most part, the major bulk of the projects are on hold until school is out, which means we can sit on that money just a little bit longer. So I did do some CD purchases over the last few weeks just to try and boost up our interest earnings even more. So the hope is that when we are all done with these projects, we can kind of look at maybe using some of those additional interest earnings to possibly pay some of the debt payments. So. And then finally, your referendum financials update. We started the month of November with just shy of $7 million. We ended the month with about $5.5 million. So we had quite a few more expenses go in November. Bayland Building is our general contractor. That's the major bulk of it. And then we're working on a few things behind the scenes outside of Bayland, so updating our fire panels for that safety and security. We had to do some flooring work, and it was cheaper for us to contract directly with Kindred Interiors rather than pay Bayland's admin fee that they add on to any of those contracts. So it's a lot of this. The same thing with the McNeil Environmental. That was in Bayland's contract up to $5,000. Anything over that, we would be responsible for covering. So we just paid the invoice directly because we already contract with McNeil for other services. And then Bayland gave us a credit off of their bill for the $5,000. So, any questions?
All right, thank you, Amber. So snow, cold day decision-making process. So probably wondering, the audience is probably wondering, how do we make a decision on whether or not we have school or a 2-hour delay or an early release? And this is something they don't teach you when you go to superintendent school about how to do this. So I'm just going to kind of go through briefly what my process is, and it seems like just for everyone to know. So the National Weather Service is a great partner for lots of districts around in our area. They will send out alerts to district leaders days and days and days in advance of a storm that's coming. So they'll email us, they'll have live virtual meetings to give us weather briefings, and they'll send us their forecast models probably 3-4 times a day with updated slides of what the anticipated temperatures, winds are going to be, the precipitation, everything you can imagine. Superintendents from Kewaunee, Door, and Brown County, we all work together very closely, again, days and days in advance. So one of us will start a text message chain and say, hey, looks like we gotta get up early on Wednesday morning to make a decision. So we all get up, we have a conference call around 4:45 in the morning. Usually one of us, which has been typically me, calls the highway department to get a road report condition, and then we report that back out to the whole group. Personally, I will always call our maintenance crew because they're usually already starting to plow. I'll look at the camera footages to see how much snow we've gotten, what the winds look like, and then we try to make a decision by 5 o'clock in the morning so families are aware. Childcare is open at 5:30, so we try to make that public and get that information out as soon as we can. So the process for a 2-hour delay, no school, or the dreaded early release, which I hate doing because it's hard on families and it's hard to get parents to pick up. First step is to inform the entire admin team. So I'll send out a text message to the group and say, hey, we have a late start, or we have no school. They'll then start communicating out to the people that fall under them, whether it's childcare teachers, bus drivers, food service, whoever falls under them. I will put out on the local media outlets. I have separate logins for all of the TV stations, the radio stations to alert and run that banner across the bottom to make sure that families know. Tracy is one of my first calls for transportation department because our bus drivers are usually coming in about 6 o'clock in the morning so they can start cleaning off the buses if there's snow. So we want to make sure that they're aware and not coming in or driving in. Food service, they're usually here by 6:30 in the morning to start preparing for breakfast, so I want to make sure that they're aware. And then again, childcare is like I mentioned. So we use Bright Arrow as our messaging system for families. It's the newest system that we switched over this year. That will send out a phone, a text, and an email to all families. And Jesse Durst usually takes care of that. He's part of the admin chain text message. And then we also have our new district app that we have used this year, so families can get notified through that. I also call our private school principals within the district in surrounding areas to make sure that they're aware. They usually follow the same as what the districts are doing. So factors for when looking at snow days. Amount of accumulation is a big factor. The timing of the storm, the winds blowing and drifting, knowing that we have team drivers that are coming in from all across the area is a factor. When the plows are going to go out. So I've learned that townships, they contract out for plowing. It's not always the county highway department. So we are sometimes subject to private companies and when they can get to clearing their roads. And then the differences between the district boundaries is really important. So what we may be experiencing here along the lake could be completely different than what they are up in Forestville area receiving. So trying to make sure that we're covering all of our different boundary areas. When factoring for cold days, which doesn't happen very often, but we look at for temperatures or wind chills that are sustained, so meaning for hours at a long time at -30 to -35 degrees. I always get the question of what's written into your policy. And we don't have any temperature set in policy, and I'm glad we don't because that temperature can fluctuate 1 minute from the next. And so once you hit -35 degrees, do you call off school because it hit that one temperature for a minute? So you gotta kind of look at what the sustained temperature or wind chill is going to be. And the big factor is just the buses being able to start. We have them all plugged in outside. We've had situations where we try and put them inside buildings if possible. Big thank you to Algoma Motors. They've been great partnering with us, but that's always a big factor is our diesel buses. Are they going to gel up or are they going to start? So, questions about snow, cold day decision making. There's no one science to this, and I've learned that whatever decision you make isn't always going to make everyone happy. But again, looking out for the safety, well-being of our students and staff coming in is really important. So,
well, no kidding. The day you called it off, it was bad. But today there were more cars in the ditch and it was less snow. So you never know what you're going to get. I mean, there was ice. It was horrible, but there were no plowing. So it's
all you can do is listen to the weatherman, and
yeah,
that's a 50-50 shot.
No matter what you do, you're probably wrong.
And I have to say the community, our parents are wonderful. It's very often that I get a phone call or an email saying, what? Why is school called off? So in my 4 years that I've been here, only a handful of times has that really happened. So,
would it be an idea to add to your list the city public works?
Yes, I can definitely do that.
I know you have in the past, and then I don't know for whatever reason that kind of stopped. But
yeah, I can definitely. Casey would be the contact, right, for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The only reason is because, for instance, I would say Thursday to Friday, most of that was this way in Door County, not so much that way. Mm-hmm. You know, so that.
Yeah.
You know, highway department, yes, they're out, but calling, you know, your area wouldn't have probably been
I had called Matt when he was in
Yeah.
charge of the public works.
And I don't know if you, when
So,
that
and I have
switch
called
with
Casey a
Casey,
few
but
times, yeah, so definitely can do that. So, and I
We can
now
make it
have
up.
contact information from the townships of who they all have for plows too, who they contract out. You're not always the best about answering the phone calls though.
Oh, yeah. They're plowing. Well, thank you.
All right, moving on to the 26-27 school calendar. You all have a electronic copy of that attached in the agenda. So some highlights of the calendar. Start date would be Tuesday, September 1st, 2026. State statute says that we cannot start school before September 1st or before Labor Day, if depending on how that falls. And so this is the earliest we could start without appealing to DPI. You will probably hear that there are a lot of districts I've heard that are appealing this to start on that Monday, August 31st. However, that time it's too late to be able to do that basically. So they're using the excuse of transportation for private schools and the cost of that, the burden of that for the district. So speaking of just that, I'm just going to add, I think there's a lot of discussions right now at the state legislative about when that start date. Being so close to Door County, I think there is some pushback on moving that date because of tourism. And so I don't know if that's going to gain any traction or not in the legislative, but it is being discussed, I know. We have 3 professional learning days built into the calendar, one on Friday, November 6th, one on Monday, January 18th, one on Friday, February 26th. That January 18th is end of semester, so that's pretty much a standing one. We have added this year additional PD days, which has been beneficial for our staff in terms of being able to learn how to use curriculum resources, have time to collaborate with colleagues, talk about student needs, and so ideally I would love to add more PD days if this calendar would allow it, but we have to meet the number of required hours for instruction by DPI. So the big change you'll notice is elementary parent-teacher conferences. Talking with our elementary teachers and getting feedback from them, they would like to add the morning, Friday, November 6th, as a conference day option for families. And the reason for that is because this last year we have gone to 2 sections for each grade level rather than having 3 teachers. And so class sizes have gone up a little bit in each grade level. It's hard to get all of those conferences scheduled in one night. So having 2 options for families is what they would like. And so the morning would be conferences for elementary teachers. The afternoon would then be professional development. So they would be required to be there the whole day though. Just some important dates that you'll see on the calendar. Labor Day is that Monday, September 7th. So we're starting the first 2 weeks of the calendar with 2 4-day weeks, which I think will be kind of nice for families and for staff to kind of ease into things a little bit. Our fall break is that Friday, October 23rd, 2026. That goes back when we had teacher convention. We always have a fall date, or fall break. Thanksgiving break is 3 days, so November 25th through the 27th, Wednesday through Friday. Winter break falls from December 24th through January 3rd, which is equal to 7 days. End of semester would be January 15th. Spring break would run then March 22nd through the 26th. It's a full week. Tentative graduation on the calendar is Friday, May 21st, and then the last student day would be Friday, May 28th. So our goal is to get the kids out before June 1st starts. So, any questions about the calendar? Okay. All right, Next Path. Quick overview of what Next Path is. You've heard us talk about this. We've had the board approve our contract with Next Path. I thought it'd be great to kind of show you what the dashboard really looks like and what type of assessments we can access and scores. So Next Path is a data platform for K through 12 school districts to store and analyze our student data. So It was created by a husband and wife team. The wife was a school psychologist, and the husband was a computer programmer. They partnered together and they said, hey, there's got to be an easier way for school districts to be able to look at assessment scores for schools and look at their kids. And so they created EduClimber years and years ago. That was then bought out, and now they've created NextPath, which is a newer version of it. So what data is collected in NextPath? We have everything from our assessment scores, whether they're formative, benchmark, screening assessments. We have student attendance is captured in it, behavior incidents or logs. We can store our grades in it, and then our pupil service data also goes in there. So the number of times a student is visiting the school nurse and the time of the day. The number of times our school counselor is seeing a student and what the reasons are for. What else am I missing?
Principal's office?
Yep.
Those would be behavior incidents.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
We track it by the behavior incident, and then if additional support is needed, we can separate document.
Guidance counselor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you're thinking, what is the purpose of NextPath? It really has helped our staff make data-informed decisions that drive student success. What I mean by that is all of our grade level teams and departments sit down once a week during professional learning communities, and they look at their student information that they have in front of them. So maybe that week a student took a math assessment in their class. They're pulling up their student scores and they're looking to say, okay, these kids didn't do very well on this test. We need to do some reteaching. These kids excelled really well on this test. They need some enrichment activities now. And so it's really trying to drive the conversations that our teachers are having around what our student needs are. The other great thing about NextPath is the law change with Act 20 and being implemented. We can create all of our reading plans, which is a requirement of Act 20, in NextPath, send it out to parents, get them to approve or sign off on it. It's just made the process so much smoother. So I'm going to take you through, and I'm going to do this hopefully without showing actual student names. So first, this is what it looks like. This is the home screen. And then teachers have on the side here all of their areas that they can look at. So I'm going to click on View Data. This is the dashboard that students or teachers would see then. They can click on any of the assessments on the bottom here in these circles to look at specific assessments scores for that test. We can look at, I'm going to start with student attendance. So you can see our attendance by all students district-wide. We have this top one. We have 2.1%, 13 out of 631 kids right now at a high risk of not attending. We have 11.3% or 71 out of 631 that are kind of on that bubble.
Mm-hmm.
We have our on-watch group. And then we have our students that are at very low risk. They're probably attending every day, whether they're sick or not.
So does those numbers cover just attendance, whether it's excused or unexcused?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, any kind of attendance.
So some of those in the red or yellow may have been out for a week or so for...
Vacation.
Right.
Sick, yep.
Okay.
Funeral leave, anything like that, yep.
But then even if they're identified as at risk, then that gets the note in by the teacher
Right.
saying you're at risk. But it's a follow-up, which I think is a good tool.
Yeah. So now it breaks it down by school. So our principals, our student services team can look at specifically for their school. Breaks it down by grade level. So now your teachers can see how their attendance is. Breaks it down by gender. Breaks it down by race. So when I look at this, this stands out right here. So our African American students, 40% are at high risk, which is 2 out of 5. So if you dig down deeper, it's a small subgroup, but it's also 2 of those students we need to address with. So that's one piece, attendance. I'm going to show you student incidents. So this would be in terms of behavior data, correct? So when a behavior occurs at school, the teachers need to put in a, what do you guys call it, ODRs?
Yeah, they call it an ODR at the elementary school, which is an office discipline referral, but it doesn't always mean that you're being referred to the office, it's just that it's documented.
Yeah. And so, once that gets entered, it sends an alert to the administrator that's in charge to do a follow-up, or it can be sometimes teacher managed, so meaning the teacher addressed the behavior within the classroom. It's just more of a documentation purpose. So you've got your discipline on the top here, and then you've got your guidance, so that would be a lot of times Courtney Schmidt and Angie Kondraski meeting with students, basically, just to document it.
Sometimes we use that too to track who's responding to a behavior as well, so we have it listed under support, so that's where a lot of those come from.
So like in the incidents for the discipline, you got 341, I mean, I'm assuming that could be like a duplication, like same student but different incident?
What I can do, if I would click on that bar graph, it would pull up a detailed summary of all of them, but you would see student names, so I don't want to do that for privacy purposes.
You can put it in Yeti mode if you really wanted to, and then it like changes all the names, but you don't have to do that.
Oh, I don't know how to do that. Show me
That sounds interesting, Yeti.
Yeah.
We use this in our weekly student services meetings so that we have different thresholds that we look for like common areas of need or students that might be coming up frequently, especially that absenteeism. We look at like, why were they gone? Were they on vacation? Are they sick? And we kind of dive deeper into that.
So you see it's broken up now by incidents by code, so what type of behavior the student was displaying. For example, fighting, or not following directions, or being disrespectful, broken up. Again, this is district-wide right now. We can narrow it down to building-wide, we can narrow it down by gender.
How is the midnight thing, the incidents by hour?
It defaults to midnight, so a lot of times teachers don't change it,
Okay.
the time. Yeah, great question. But you brought up a good point. So this, on the side here, is basically a summary of the data. It's an AI summary generated of what you're seeing in the bar graph. So this is helpful for a lot of times our student services team to just pull this up quickly and look at, okay, we're seeing by grade level, 5th grade leads the most behavior incidents right now. So,
I mean, that would be helpful if they would change that to the actual time, because maybe there's a trend there.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That is
Right
an
before
area that we're
lunch?
trying to improve.
Yep.
And the time of year, you've got to do the cycles with that, with the full moon, and people think it's crazy.
Even location
Yeah.
is important. You
Absolutely.
can see that right here. So are most incidents happening in the classroom? This shows yes, 300 of them. So incidents by month. So we've
There we go.
been using this since October. Well, no, September is the lowest here, 68. So you can see. Weekday, that's important because we see a lot of times kids have a really tough Monday because they're coming off the weekend. Fridays may be tough because they don't want to go home to the weekend. A lot of times we'll use this data if it's a student that has a split family and say they're going to dad's house and they don't like going to dad's house, for example. So.
Does it go a little farther? So like when you have an incident, like say a Monday, right, and you get coming off the weekend, you know, there are studies show that kids who lack food and, you know, guidance at home, like they could come back to school with, you know, some things. Can you track that in there too? Like if you had a conversation with a student who had an incident and then they say, well, this is my situation, does that go in there too?
That would go in the,
Add notes.
yeah. Go ahead, you want to explain?
I was just gonna say there is an area where you can add notes in there, so that anybody that's accessing the student's information can see those notes.
Are we seeing a lot of that, or is it pretty minimal?
For food, like.
Yeah, any kind of insecurities at home, yeah.
I think we have some different things in place for that. I know Angie Kondraski at the elementary school has like a, what does she call it? Start Strong Club, it used to be the Breakfast Club, where students that might need like a softer start or need some hygienic needs, you know, a place to eat their breakfast, they'll do that with her. At the middle school, high school, I'm not really sure that we have anything set in stone for that, but it is a good conversation starter for our people services team.
Is this an extra step to what they were previously doing, or is this replacing an Excel spreadsheet or a paper form or something?
It's replacing going through multiple platforms. Now it puts it in one spot, and you can even create your own data wall where you pick which information you want to look at on the same screen. So say you want to look at their attendance and their behavior incidents all on one screen. You can kind of sort it how you want it. So it's pretty cool.
It's not requiring teachers to put data in another location. They're still putting in their same PowerSchool data warehouse, student information system. It just, every night it pulls information from PowerSchool and puts it into this.
Oh, okay. So they're not entering it in here, they're doing it all in PowerSchool?
You can create, customize.
If you want it.
If you want. So
Okay.
like your unit math test, you could create a data wall for those. So student counts, I think this is interesting. It'll populate here. So you can see this is just overall how many kids we have in each grade level. And these are actually student pictures. They're photos from school photos. So I can hover over a kid and click on it, and it'll give me a data wall picture of that kid, their attendance, their behavior, their assessment scores, parent contact information, basically. So. This is used at the middle school and high school, so our failing rate, students failing. So break it up by how many kids are meeting expectations, by grade level, by school, gender. You see more males are failing than females right now. So by race.
With the gender, I mean, that's a huge difference. What is it in the student ratio between male and female? Like out of all the students, how many males and females do you have
I
total?
think we're at about 48% male.
Oh, so it's
We're a
pretty
little
close to
higher,
half and half,
a
yeah.
little more male. So I'm gonna turn off the screen real quick because I want to put up one more wall, but I gotta hide student names quickly first, so.
So as a parent, we're only seeing some universal screening, like what else would end up in here, or what do, like I can only see attendance in PowerSchool and stuff, so what else?
So
No.
your login
We
is
did
gonna look a
before
little
this.
different than the teacher login.
What's the good, I
because
like it.
Before I turned it in.
Access to the
It's how much
students
you
that
get now.
we would
They
need
finally
access to,
emailed me.
which is another factor.
But I like it.
Staff members have
I
different
gotta figure out how to
settings
share it
based on
with
what
everybody.
students they can see, so not every staff member is going to have everyone's information.
But I
They
mean,
would have the students that are enrolled in their classes
like it.
that that information would be relevant to. As a parent,
everywhere there's rain.
you get
That's
like
what we
a
gotta work
one-time
on.
login, where then you can get like any letters
And you're-
or
so you're just
the Act
speaking it, so
20
we're getting there.
Reading plan.
We don't examine that.
So any
don't
type of like letter.
We're gonna start.
be
There's
written up
another
with
minute.
data. So it's not as extensive.
Are homeroom teachers the only ones in here, or does like a specials
Yeah.
teacher have access to everyone? Because like your
Yeah.
elementary gym is touching everyone, right?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure
She
about
emailed
special
me.
teachers. I know like our interventionists
I did.
have access to everyone.
I have no
but-
idea how many.
Jesse, do you
Oh,
know?
And I don't wanna
You
know
roll
that there's
basically based off of like what your
I have
position
no
is,
idea.
so
I have no
depending
idea.
on what your position is, you actually get a limited or broader scope of what the data package is. So as a specialist teacher,
I answered
you'll
that.
probably be able to see discipline for those kids, because they're relevant to you, because they're in the classroom. But otherwise, it's probably just their grades.
That's why I just.
Very cool. Lots of data. The data nerd in me is loving
It
it.
is fun.
different
It's
version.
hours. So this is
Oh, absolutely, I would too.
our Ames Web reading screener. So this is a requirement for as part of Act 20 reading. And so what I did was I slid over and I hid the student names. So each row here is a different student. And you can see like this category right now is just looking at the oral reading fluency section of that task. So you can see color-coded how the kid did. So red means did very poorly. Yellow means that they're developing. green means they were average, and then blue means they were exceeding. And so what I like about this is you can see the fall assessments right here, and then you also see the winter assessments. So you can do some comparison on how the progress that the students are making or not making, basically. And it breaks it down by each subsection of the test. And so you're seeing some rows blank because this is pulling all kids from the elementary school. The test is broken up by categories based off of the grade levels. So you got reading comprehension, you got vocabulary, you got reading composite. Not sure what that one is. Letter, word, sound, fluency, auditory, vocabulary, early literacy composite, letter naming, so that would be your primary, your youngest grades. Word reading fluency, your nonsense words, phonemes, listening comprehension, initial sounds, your RAN objects, so colors and shapes, again, those would be your early childhood programs using those, so. And then the same would be for math. You can pull up your math assessment as the same, so you can see the same. So, any questions? I know that was a lot of information, but I wanted you to just kind of see an overview of what our teachers are using, how this has really shaped or helped, I think, some of our just day-to-day decision-making that our teachers are using. So
I think it's awesome, but I do want to ask Marie,
Yes.
because you're working with it, I know you are too, but how's been the result, I mean, how has the staff been receptive to it, not receptive? Do they like looking at it? Are they geeking out over it, or just like, I don't want to deal with it, I have kids in front of me, let me deal with it?
Both sides. You have the ones that are like, this is amazing, like, and just dive right in. Our student services team finds it really helpful. We actually had somebody from CISA help us create like a data wall where, like I was saying, you can like put the different areas that you want to look at, and we have different thresholds that we use to identify if students need additional support. So on that end, it's been really helpful. I don't know, like, other than playing around with it, how much our teachers are using it too much yet, but I think the more that they learn about it, they'll find it very useful.
That was kind of my question is, it's one thing to look at all that information, but are we really gonna dive into it and then use it for a reason, other than just looking at it? So that's one
Mr.
thing.
Robertson asked that same
That's one
question.
thing to keep in mind, because you can come up with some really nice fancy things, but if nothing gets adjusted by looking at it.
It could be used in your ACPs, especially if you show the child, here's the data we have on you.
Yeah.
And here's what it looks like going in, here's your absentee rate, you don't have to get into much like the discipline referrals, but I mean, if you pull that in when you have your one-on-ones, I don't know, are you going, well, we'll have that discussion later, when you bring in the community to talk with the kids about how they're doing, the data chats, I mean, that's the stuff, that's how you bring it back. And you put it back right on the kid, because the kid's in charge of their own learning. All the students are, they have to understand that. You're in charge of it. When you're in charge of it, here's the data, here's what you're gonna see.
I think on our end too, we can also use it as far as the teaching end of it also.
Absolutely.
As far as what we're looking at it, if one of our teachers is doing a phenomenal job, or if
Are they
there's-
skipping
or-
class at
or
the
if there's
same
a-
time?
Or if there's a
Every
trend, is there a trend where,
Yeah.
it's always
Noon, they're gonna
whatever
go
grade or
eat their
whatever.
ramen
So,
noodles.
Yeah, it's pretty lame as a parent, but that's really cool from
Yeah.
a staff
Mhm.
viewpoint.
So is this something that, say a teacher is high school, they're leaving 8th grade going, will the teacher be able to see some of the students' information prior to the first day of school?
Yes. So all that historical assessment data, attendance always follows the kid. So you can go back to multiple years and look at information.
So as long as they're assigned to that new teacher, that teacher can see them already?
Correct.
Okay. I just figure it'd be really useful, even with behaviors, so
Mhm.
that you kind of know what what's coming.
Yeah.
And maybe you can brainstorm ways to help curb some of that.
So staff only sees the students in front of them, they don't see the whole building. Got
That's
it,
how we have
okay.
it set right now.
Right.
Okay.
We take the least amount of access and open it up as needed, just to ensure our student data privacy.
So all admin has got everything.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's pretty cool.
I love
mean,
it.
I hope it really,
Love data warehouse.
really helps, but it's really cool.
So my goal by end of first semester is to have every single teacher be able to just log in and be familiar with this platform. Be able to pull up a student profile, be able to look and see where do I find the ACT score? How do I know what access level a student's at?
So easy for writing IEPs, that's what we
I
were
was
putting.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
that's
every
even
time we have a quiz on a
valuable
Friday,
for
that
special
kid fails.
Are you,
Yep.
are you able to track who's using or not using it? Like,
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know that either.
I was gonna
you know
ask
what I
on
mean, if you
parents
log
too.
in,
Can you
a
see if
teacher
your
logs in or
parents have
doesn't,
looked
you
at
know.
the scores?
I believe so.
Like, can you see the keystrokes that teachers are doing, so you know where they're going, so you're gonna see, oh, they accessed that site?
We do have history that we could do,
Okay.
that they pulled it up, obviously, but not keystrokes, because that would be a violation of time.
Well,
Especially the passwords and.
but history, definitely.
yeah, I was just curious if
Has everyone
only
adopted
10,
it?
10 people are using it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know.
And the
that
rest of it is,
In most schools, people are already asking lots of questions, so I know it's being used.
correct, but there might be a few, like Marie said there, I got enough in front of me right now with,
They'll get there.
Exactly,
Yeah.
they'll get there.
yeah.
Is information transferable? So like say you have a student that transfers into the district and they come from a school that's using the same software, can that information?
I don't think it is. No.
But you will print everything before that child leaves and send it along in
Obviously,
the
grades
cumulative
that come in,
folder.
We'll populate, you know, with all the grades and the classes they've taken, that'll populate, but nothing else.
Or at least we did.
So, kind of leads me into our strategic planning, because having this next path is an important step to be able to really analyze and look at pull our student data. And so included in the agenda was the link contract for our working, you saw the MOU already. That was now turned into an actual contract that you guys will be voting on later tonight during the action items. Again, working with a husband and wife, both are former superintendents within the state of Wisconsin, Kathy Cook, Michael Gallagher, so that's how you get the KCMG. They've worked with a number of districts around the state, most recently Gibraltar School District, and have some amazing success with moving some districts forward with strategic planning. So I had a kickoff meeting with them last week to see what kind of data they want us to pull for our first meeting in February. They gave me a 3-page list that myself and our whole admin team are gonna start working on when we come back from break. It'll all be electronic. I'll be able to share it with all of you board members as well, so you can view it. And that's gonna drive the conversations for the next 5 sessions that we would have, the strategic planning meetings. So session 1, and these are all scheduled already, well in advance. Session 1 would be our admin team to review the mission statement of the district, achievement data, and kind of introduce the strategic and tactical planning process. Session 2 is when the board would become involved, community leaders, staff. We're looking for a team total of about 30 to 40 people. They want to focus heavily on what AI looks like in public education, so they'll do some work around that as a team. AI is not going away. We as a school district have to be prepared for AI. We have to get our kids prepared for AI. And so I'm glad that they're incorporating that lens into the work that we're going to be doing.
What do you mean looking at AI? Like jobs out in the future or AI chat GPT? What do they mean?
Could mean anything.
Okay.
How is AI going to take over some of the work that I do?
Gotcha.
How is it going to take over some of the work that students can do?
Potentially replace teachers in the future.
That's the threat.
But no, it can help, even assist with lesson planning.
Yep.
Yeah.
and how that's
Differentiation.
It downloads
Yep,
a book and
you're
does the
exactly
lessons for you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We'll analyze the district achievement data, looking at trends. They asked that we go back to 2018 for our data, so we'll have many, many years to look at. We'll create some high leverage opportunities to improve learning. So I'll touch base on what a need that I'm going to have here in a little bit. Session 3 would be instructional leaders. So who are our leaders at the building levels that are doing the day-to-day work? For example, our interventionist, some of our lead teachers that are on the building leadership team, bringing them together to look at an internal, external analysis of the data and then create some success indicators. That work then will be carried and brought back to the full school board, community leaders, that team of 30 to 40 people again. And we'll review a draft of the strategic focus areas and success indicators, and that'll be finalized then by the admin team in session 5. So we need to develop a community representative group to provide the feedback for those session 2 and session 4. So what I've asked our admin team this morning was to start thinking of some names of parents that would be well represented at all of our buildings. We're looking for clergy, business leaders, alumni, parents, grandparents, local elected officials, anyone that has a stake in the school district. Whether you're a taxpayer, a parent, you've gone through the school district.
Retired.
Yep, you all would have an important say, I think, in what the data is representing and where we want to go as a school district. So I ask that you as board members, if you have people that you know and have talked to you in the community and said, hey, I really am passionate about this, or I have questions for you, pass those names along to me. I will be happy to reach out to them and see if they want to be part of this group to meet for the 2 times that it would be required. If there's people out here in the community that are watching this board meeting and you want to be part of it, please give me a call directly. I do need to form the group by January 15th. So there's somewhat of a deadline, but please pass names along to me. I'd be happy to reach out to them. So after those 5 strategic planning meetings, it then follows up with 9 tactical planning meetings, and that work would begin in September of 26 and go all the way through the school year ending in May of 27. That work really focuses with our admin team. We develop a school success plan basically for each building and one for the district as a whole. And then that's the document that we use throughout the entire year to look at our continuous school improvement process. We review the data monthly to see how we're doing. It's a long process, but it's going to be key that we keep up on this. We don't want this work to just do it and then sit on a shelf. It needs to be continuously looked at and analyzed. So, Amy, you were part of some of our planning meetings. Did I miss anything?
No. Well, there's 9 tactical, but I thought they would also give some coaching to us as a board.
Yes.
So that was one thing that I was, I'm okay with, the 5, but I want some for just us to kind of come up with what is it that we need and how can we help support this mission, vision, and moving forward.
Yeah, they said we can work that in separately. So.
And are they local, going to be on site for those 5 sessions, or coming in?
The 5 sessions will be on site. They're coming from Milwaukee area.
Okay.
So I am going to assume, as a board, we need to make ourselves available February 26th and April 16th. Those are 2 that we're involved in.
That sounds correct. Yes.
I just want to slide over them.
Hmm?
I was gonna ask, it's only a couple of slides over.
So session 2 is school board, community leaders, staff, to look at AI, district achievement. Session 2. And session 3.
Listed in the contract itself.
And session 4, school board. Yeah, so I think those are the 2 that we.
Yep. February 26th from 4 to 7.
Yep.
And then April 16th from 4 to 7.
I want to make sure we got that and put that on our calendars.
February what?
February 26th, 2 days before my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Just saying. You can start your shopping now.
So now we gotta get you a gift.
No. Lord, no.
All right, and the last thing is just a reminder about school board election. Spring election date is Tuesday, April 7th. Primary election date would be Tuesday, February 17th if it's needed. Algoma school board will have 2 rural seats on the ballot for spring. Candidates can fill out campaign registration statements and declarations of candidacy between, open December 1st and goes through January 6th at 5 o'clock p.m. Those forms are located in the district office here at the middle school and high school. Just note that the office will be closed from the 24th through the 2nd. Are you working, Amber, the 2nd?
Is that Friday? No.
Yeah. Yeah, so all of break, we will be, it will be closed, so.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Has anyone taken out papers yet?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
No one's filed their non-candidacy? They have until December 26th.
Yep.
Friday.
And more information can be found on our district website for that, so.
Okay.
And I am complete. That was a long report, so.
All right, next up, we have our department report by Marie Ott, our Director of Special Ed.
Good patience you're showing over there.
Yes.
And I have more data for you. How
Good.
exciting. So, as you may or may not be aware, we've had quite a spike in our special education enrollment, especially this year from last year. So I wanted to just kind of capture why that is and just some facts. So this school year, we've so far have had 15 initial referrals put in for a special education evaluation. 2 of those did not qualify. That included 7 new enrollments into special education, and 6 of those are still in process.
Marie, did the 2 that didn't qualify, are they 504s now?
One of them is, yes.
Okay. So they got something.
Yes. Of those, 2 were birth to 3 transfers, so when a child receives birth to 3 services, they have the option to be evaluated to see if they qualify for early childhood services. 4 of those were parent referrals, 8 of those were staff referrals, and 1 of them is a private school referral. So far this school year, we've had 3 students that have been dismissed from special education, meaning they were reevaluated and no longer qualified for services, which is always a celebration. We had 18 students transferred into our school district this school year with IEPs. That's a large number. That's about more than a special education caseload. So it's been it's taken a toll on our special education teachers because their caseloads have all grown drastically. 4 of those students were from out of state. One thing that Amber and I learned about recently at our Special Education Budget Academy is something called a transfer of service. It's not something that we've historically done in our district because of how that can have, correct me if I'm wrong, how it affects the levy within your tax revenue. However, there is an option for districts to do a transfer of service when you are receiving students in your district from another Wisconsin school, where you would essentially get some funding from their school district. 11 of those, 11 students total in our special education enrollment are open enrolled, and only 4 of those are speech and language only. I don't know if you can see this very well. I kind of tried to copy and paste it from a spreadsheet, but if you want any of this information sent to you, I can definitely get it to you. I broke it up by grade level of what our percentages were of students enrolled in the grade, as well as the percentage of students that have IEPs. But then I also subtracted the speech and language only students because they don't necessarily have a special education teacher.
Right.
So if you can see that tiny print, essentially over half of our grade levels have percentages that are around 20%. At the elementary level, we have 25% of our students that are qualifying for an IEP. Only 19% of those if you include or don't include speech and language. At the middle school, high school, we're at 17% and ABA 15%. Something to note is that our Little Stars students are not enrolled as students unless they are receiving early childhood special education services. That's why the number is at 100% in that little chart. Another thing to note is that we don't have students over fourth grade that are speech and language only students.
Is that because they've probably graduated out, or?
Either
Okay.
they've already been dismissed or they have additional services.
Okay.
Oops. I'm looking at it on my screen and it's different.
I know, that's
So
what
this
I was
breaks it
doing.
up by
Where am I?
school, by the elementary, middle, high school, ABA, and St. Paul's, as well as the district. So as you can see, our district percentage is fairly high. We're at 21% of our students receiving special education services. That is almost a quarter of our students. It comes down to 18% if you do subtract those students that are speech and language only. I bring this to your attention, I mean, obviously because of the funding that is in the news about special education, as well as some of the professional development that we've been focusing on as a district. Earlier this school year, we met as a staff to talk about roles and responsibilities, and that all students that are in special education are general education students first, as well as the universal design for learning, that we have multiple different ways of learning and how can we design our lesson plans in a way that's meeting all students. In January, we have another professional development day where we're going to dive deeper into co-planning. So really bringing our general education teachers, special education teachers, EL coordinator together and learn how to have a productive planning session. And also look at some different co-teaching models and what that can look like so that we can best serve all students.
With the 18 students that transferred into the district for special education, that obviously impacted your number, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the reasons that those 18 students came here? Was it our special education program is just that great? Is it other districts don't provide or have space, or what was the?
I could speculate, but I don't know the answers. I mean, I think the housing definitely brought some families to the area. Other than that, the open enrollment, typically, sometimes we have students that will kind of hop around to different districts. I'd like to say it's because we've got a great special education department, but I can't say that for sure.
You can say that.
Okay, it's because of our great special education.
But I mean, on a typical year, so this is obviously an anomaly, so we can chalk up some of those, the housing that we've seen an influx of. Typically, how many do we see?
Transfer in?
Yeah.
I would say between 5 and 10.
So it's significant, yeah.
And January's board meeting too, you will approve open enrollment number caps as well. If you remember last year, we had capped, I think it was 5th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade for special education. So we'll be looking at that closely again for this next coming year.
And if you go back to 5th grade, you can see why they're at about 35% of their grade level.
Yeah, and he's got a large caseload. I did peek at that.
Yes, so the next slides after, I broke it up by how many students are in each caseload. This is not including the 6 initial referrals that are in place because we don't know whether or not they will qualify. If you look at Mr. Krieger, 3rd and 4th grade, it's really large, 17, that's almost as many as students that transferred in. When I met with the special education teachers to develop caseloads last year, it was a high priority to keep grade levels banned and not mix up grade levels too much because that makes it difficult for planning and working with the general education teachers. Just by chance, we ended up getting a lot of 3rd graders, 3rd and 4th graders this year, so that definitely added to that number.
How many paras then go along with these?
It really depends on what's in a student's IEP. So a para isn't necessarily assigned to a special education teacher per se, it's what's in the student's IEP. In total, we have 10 paraprofessionals. Well, we did. I have to quote myself on that number. It's either 9 or 10, which are divided half and half between the building.
And are they one-on-one with students, or they have a caseload as well in that more para sense of the word?
Yeah, we do have some students that receive significant support. We try to avoid using the one-on-one just because that is the most restrictive placement that you can provide with a student. And our goal is always to promote independence and not rely on another human to be there with you to do all of your tasks. But students get older, we tend to either pair with more students or see how we could fade that back a little bit and provide those more authentic opportunities to be inclusive in the setting with their peers. It's 10? Okay, thank you. I don't want to forget anybody. If you go to the next slide, this is our middle school, high school caseload. Lexi Gogger, she's our Pathfinder teacher, so this year she's also an alternate ed teacher, so she's kind of been a multi-role. She has a couple students in ABA as well as the students that are in Pathfinder Academy on top of her alt ed license. Logan Knapp, she's in 7th and 8th grade. She's got 13 students. Same with Maddie and Nanette. They both have 13 students. Maddie has an asterisk next to her name because she also has a couple students in ABA. With there being such a small number of students in ABA that receive special education services, they don't necessarily have their own special education teacher, so we just work together. And then Aletta Young has 9. And she's more of the functional living skills type classroom.
Is there data anywhere on what an average caseload would be for a special ed teacher?
So that's a really loaded question.
It is, I was gonna offer my
It
input,
really
but go.
depends on what is in a student's IEP. You could have 4 students with super significant needs that is a much higher workload than a caseload of 15. So it really depends on what's being written into that IEP and what services they entail.
At one point, DPI tried to quantify it by not even looking at that percentage and just said anywhere from 20 to 25. It was very nebulous. So I like that they've now gone back to what actually the child needs, but still, it might not happen that way.
So if you have students that have pairs in their core classes, do you try to put, like if there's 5 students that need that, do you try to put them in the same core classes?
I know sometimes for scheduling purposes that can be helpful. Is it best practice to segregate students based on being in special education and not? No, it's best to have a more heterogeneous mix. So I don't have a great answer for you other than yes and no.
Okay.
At times they will try for scheduling purposes and staffing personnel to best meet the needs of the students to schedule that way, but I think really it comes down to what does the student need and how can we best provide that.
I'm guessing on a percentage basis, we're probably higher than other schools as far as special education.
Right. So
Do you think there's a reason for that? I mean, is it other schools probably, I don't want to say don't care as much, but maybe don't dig into the student as much as maybe we do? Or, I mean, why do you think we're higher as a school district? I mean, that's a pretty high number.
There's a lot of different reasons, and I don't know if you have any thoughts on this as well. I know as a district, we're really looking at our multi-level system of support. And I think sometimes we jump 0 to 100 thinking like we need to go to special education in order to provide student support, and really there are so many levels in between that we can prevent special education. I'm not saying that we shouldn't provide special education, but there's a lot of things that are interventions that can be put in place in the general education setting first. So sometimes I think those percentages can get higher because we put in more referrals because we want to get the students help. However, then we're kind of weighing between, are we okay with then labeling a student as having a disability as opposed to preventing them from being labeled as having a disability? I don't know if that kind of answers your question.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of factors, right? Your socioeconomic status, things like that. Do you break down the demographics of like nationality and
It's a great question.
Goes that far as it?
I actually recently was given a tool by Heidi Siebert. She's the CISA 7 special ed director. She gave me a tool that I can do a data equity audit on our special education population, where I can really break it down into discipline, ethnicity, socioeconomic status. I've been kind of digging in that as I have time, but I haven't really broken it down
Yeah, I think that would be pretty eye-opening, I think.
Well, not only that, but also how many kids went to Head Start. I mean, a lot of it starts when they're younger, getting them in that learning mode. And maybe, as you said, with the interventions not working, what's the list of interventions that have happened? Because there's a lot of factors other than just the socioeconomic that leads into the learning. Everyone learns differently. Some
Sure.
kids are hands-on, which is why, you know, they like AVA. It's hands-on, it's project-based versus sitting in a chair for 3 hours getting talked at.
And DPI does monitor that every year. We will get audited. And so what was the corrective action that we just had to put in place that you're working on right now?
Well, that's our 5-year annual.
Okay.
We just had our procedural compliance self-assessment where we go through our IEPs and go through a very lengthy checklist to make sure that we're within compliance. So we had a couple minor errors with check boxes and just making sure something was documented right in each place. So nothing too red flag there, but for our audit that you're talking about, the joint federal notification, we typically haven't been flagged, partially because we don't have enough students within some of those subgroups in order to create a score.
So I'm real quick with like nationality. I know at the last convention last year, you know, going to the lobbying, what did you call it again? The delegate. That was one of the subjects, was a resolution to test students in their native language, which was causing a lot of these children who speak Spanish as their native language getting tested in English, was pushing them into an IEP because of course they were failing the tests, right? I'm assuming that we don't do that, right? We are testing them in their native language.
And I think something to consider too when you're evaluating a student for having a disability, an exclusionary factor is whether or not language is a barrier, as well as if they've had adequate schooling. I know we've had some families move into the district that maybe hadn't been to school for a couple of years, and then now we're just, here you go. So instead of just identifying them as having a disability, what are we doing proactively to ensure that we can close that
You see a big shift, and maybe we don't have any students that maybe go from like traditional school to homeschool back to traditional. Is there any concern with any of that, or?
concern from going back and forth?
Yeah, from them being behind at their grade level that they're re-entering a traditional school in?
I guess I can't think of any specific examples, but by missing a full year of school, I mean, not saying that they're not getting school, but the same education.
Right, it's different.
that it
The rigor.
definitely creates an impact.
Sure. Thank you.
So, I have a question. And it kind of ties in with what you showed us with the behavioral stuff. I know elementary, I don't know if they do now, but they used to have like class dojo. Is there anything in place? So say little Jimmy has ADHD, he's got a documented disability, but he doesn't need an IEP. Well, some of the class dojo stuff will reflect very negatively because of his disability, but they don't watch it as close. So is there something in place for students that might have a disability without needing an IEP, so that something like class dojo isn't going to negatively affect them purely for their disability?
There is something called 504 plan. So if somebody has a medical condition or disability, but doesn't require that specialized instruction that's within an IEP, you can be evaluated for a 504 plan, which is also a legal document. Essentially, it's an accommodation plan.
Okay.
So the student who may have ADHD has certain accommodations listed in there that they're legally required to get, whether it be separate settings, breaks, noise buffers. Those are just some that come to the top of my head. Or like somebody that might have diabetes might need additional bathroom breaks. A 504 plan provides protection around that.
Okay.
And I don't think they're using dojo the way they used to with like the points, like awarding behavior points, the way that like a previous generation I knew was getting points. Right now it's more of a communication tool, announcements, messages.
Okay, because I know my experience with it was that no incentives were earned if you didn't have a certain percentage. And I think there's a lot of kiddos with ADHD and other, that do typically have behavioral issues, you know, whether it be organization, whatever, that got dinged and didn't get to go to incentives. And it's kind of based on, you know, it's a disability reason, but they're being penalized for their disability. So that's why I was asking.
Okay. Any other questions for Marie? Thank you, we grilled you quite extensively, but it's fascinating. Yes. It comes through very much. It's
I can
wonderful.
keep going if you want.
All right, moving on to new business. Let's see if I can pull that back up. Here we go. All right. We heard about it. Now we are going to start talking about the approval for the school district calendar for 2026-27. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Jeremy, seconded by Lonnie to approve the school district for the 2026-2027 calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is to approve the general service agreement with KCMG International LLC in the amount of $8,000 for strategic planning. We heard Jesse's overview of it. You've also got those slides in your packet. I'd entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Chrissy, seconded by Chris. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. And the last one is to approve amending policy 1240 to change the annual evaluation of the district administrator to be completed by January 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Shannon, seconded by Chris. All those in favor say aye.
This is a
Aye.
one-time update, or sorry. there
Correct.
was a
No,
discussion.
you're right. There was no discussion. Sorry about that. Yes, this is a one-time only,
Okay.
unless we think it might work to our advantage to,
And
Put
that'll
it
go
to
to the
the end.
policy committee if we want to update it, right?
oh, that would be, that would be a folk policy. But we'll see how this works. All right, back to the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion
No,
carries.
that can't, because isn't it a state requirement?
Only for contract purposes. If
Okay.
you were
Right.
looking at non-renewal contract, then yes.
Gotcha.
But for at one time, I wouldn't recommend moving it permanently, but for this one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and are
Good
we
question.
doing- I thought we're
It's
doing
just so much
above-
going
above
on
and
these
beyond the
months. We
legal
might wanna look at
thing,
it.
right? Don't you have to have a review
So
every
you have a
Right, right.
2-year
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
rolling contract,
So-
that it doesn't, the new contract is not issued, it rolls over into a second year,
Correct.
so that's the maximum you can have.
But there are those dates of when to notify them. But I just know that December and January are tight months where we do a lot of things, so I thought maybe that's something we wanna look at. But there are a bunch of other hoops to go through, so keep that one on the back burner. All right, request for future agenda items. Get them to either Jesse or myself. And we'll review the dates for future meetings. We have a charter school committee meeting that is at 5 PM on Tuesday, January 13th in the district office conference room. 3 board members are attending the state education convention between January 20th and the 23rd. It is me, Jeremy, and Shannon. The next regular board meeting will be at 6 PM on Monday, January 26th, in room 117A at the middle high school. The Buildings Ground Transportation Committee will meet at 6 PM on Wednesday, January 28th, in the middle high school library. All right, any questions on that? Are we missing anything? Okay. Now I will entertain a motion to move into executive session under Wisconsin statute 19.85, section 1, subsection C, for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Jeremy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Aye.
Lonnie? Yes.
Aye. Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Yes.
And I say yes. We've all said yes, so it's carried unanimously. We are now in executive